Here we are again, embracing the jank. Thank you for joining me. We are going to talk about Auras of Majesty, one of the welcome decks with Magic the Gathering, the Arena. I am Sarkantuna. And this deck is all about enchantments. So it's a really, at best, I would describe this deck as clunky. It's really more of a concept deck. It can be fun, and it can work. You can sneak away with some wins. I like the concept. There's a couple of them in here, but I like the concept in general. It starts off with Novice Knights, which is a one-casting 2/3 with Defender. However, if Novice Knight is enchanted or equipped, it can attack as though it did not have Defender. Daybreak Chaplain simply serve as a 2-casting 1/3 with Lifelink. And you'll see where the enchantments come in later, because you can Knight's Pledge, giving an enchanted creature +2/+2, thereby making this a 3/5 with lifelink, or what have you. Greenwood Sentinels are a 2-casting 2/2 with Vigilance. There's one Thorn Lieutenant, which is a 2-casting 2/3, and Thorn Lieutenant gets +4/+4 if you pay 6 mana, that's still on a turn, or whenever Thorn Lieutenant becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Super powerful in an elf deck. Seems a little out of place in this one. One of a Siegehorn Ceratops. Whenever Siegehorn Ceratops is dealt damage, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So they never block a Siegehorn Ceratops. If you can enchant this thing, you'll get a win. One of a Danitha Capashen. She's a Paragon. It's pretty awesome. I like this card a lot. She's a first strike, Vigilance with Lifelink, aura, and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less. She's a 2/2. So you can see the synergy with Danitha and the enchantment starting to happen. One of a History of Benalia. This is a cool enchantment they threw in there. Really powerful in the current meta, but in this deck is a little out of place. 3 Luminous Bonds, which is kind of cool. Soft removal. Oakenform, a 3-casting enchantment that is also Luminous Bonds benefits from Danitha. If she's out, she'll make that cheaper. Oakenform again is a enchanted creature, gets +3/+3. And then a Satyr Enchanter is a 3-casting. Everybody say hi to Kiki. She's getting frisky. Alright, say hi. Say hi? Okay, say bye. Cool. Satyr Enchanters is the root of the deck here. Whenever you cast an enchantment, draw a card. This is a pretty cool. This is the concept here. You cast your enchantments, you draw a bunch of cards, you cast more enchantments, your creatures get bigger, you attack, and you win. Ajani's Last Stand. Whenever a creature or planeswalker you control dies, you may sacrifice Ajani's enchantment. If you do, create a 4/4 white avatar creature token with flying that does not have Vigilance, but that's okay because it still flies. If a spell or an ability an opponent causes you to discard the Ajani's Last Stand, you can thereby create a 4/4 white avatar creature token with flying. It's actually not a bad card to play in any white deck, because there's a lot of like Dimir decks out there that make you discard, and or other cards, other decks running black that will make you discard with like other methods. And if you just run this in your white decks, you can still cast it on turn 4. Or should you sideboard it, maybe mix it in if you have to discard, you'll get that 4/4. We'll scroll down a little bit. Hieromancer's Cage is also a removal, so you exile a target non-land permanent, not just a creature, any permanent will do, until Hieromancer's Cage leaves the battlefield. Pretty useful for planeswalkers, artifacts, other enchantments you don't want. Sometimes you can Hieromancer's Cage one of their like Ixalan's binding removals enchantments also. It's kind of frisky. On Serra's Wings is a expensive enchantment, but it works. Enchanted creature's legendary, gets +1/+1, has flying, vigilance, and lifelink. That's pretty cool. It makes one of your creatures pretty unstoppable. A Shalai, Voice of Plenty, awesome card. 4-casting, flying, 3/4. You, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof. It's dope. And for 6, for 4 and 2 green, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. If you start pumping up your creatures, the game is over. Druid of the Horns, also some enchantment synergy here. For 4, it's a 2/3. Whenever you cast an aura spell that targets the Druid of the Horns, create a 3/3 green beast creature token. It's pretty cool. Knightly Valor, also if you put Knightly Valor on Druid of the Horns. So Knightly Valor gives a creature +2/+2 and vigilance. Also, when you cast it, create a 2/2 white knight creature token vigilance. So if you put Knightly Valor on the Druid of the Horns, not only do you get a 4/5 with vigilance, you get a 2/2 knight and a 3/3 beast, and that's a pretty good combo. And Prodigious Growth is a one of when a enchanter creature gets +7/+7 and has trample. If you start getting some of these enchantments out there, especially early, you're going to win the game. But this deck is super susceptible to like hard removal, like Murder, Cast Down, Chupacabras. Man, Ravenous Chupacabras really just frustrate this deck and me when I'm playing it. 11 plains, 9 forests, 1 Sunpetal Grove, and 4 of the Tranquil Expanses. This deck would obviously be better with a better land base, or some other just really powerful creatures in there that would benefit from the enchantments. But let's see how it plays out. It's kind of fun. It's kind of a cool concept. But again, I would really stress these welcome decks as like concept decks, not necessarily full-on ready to win decks, though you can find some win conditions. So let's try and find one. And while we wait, go ahead and subscribe. It doesn't spam you, it just puts a little dot whenever I upload a new video. I try and do one a day. Let's see what's in our hand. So pretty good hand. Not enough land. So if we keep this hand, we run the risk of not drawing any mana for 3 turns. I also don't have a play before turn 3, which I don't like as well. I like to have a play before turn 3, so I'm going to take a mulligan. Hopefully we'll get a play, and we did. We got a Ceratops. So we can play Tranquil Expanse on turn 1. We don't need it to... I like Luminous Bonds there. We don't need this land to come into play untapped because we don't have a play anyway, so we're good there. We'll drop a land, it doesn't matter which one, and we'll get our Siegehorn out. Now we could, if we're crazy, we could Luminous Bonds our own Druid of the Horns just to get that 3/3 beast, but it's not worth it. See, here we go, he's got a discard again, so he chooses a non-land. That player discards that card, so kind of a cool little pilfering imp there. And we'll just Oakenform the Siegehorn, make him a 5/5. That makes him immune to all the red removal he's going to have. Not immune to it, but he will survive a Lava Coil, a Shock, a Lightning Bolt. Not a Shock and a Lightning Bolt, but he'll survive most of the one-shot red removal. Here comes the murder. See? Alright, so we'll do a Novice Knight and really get slowed down here. And he's not immune to Lightning Bolt. He'll get Lightning Bolted pretty good. And I can't play my Druids. All I can do is Luminous Bonds, and I can't attack because I can't enchant my Novice Knight. So I'm a little stalled out at the moment. I'd probably replace these Novice Knights with like Dauntless Bodyguards. It doesn't matter what I discard. I've got 2 cards in here that do pretty much the same thing. So he's probably going to go for a Druid just because that's the more relevant threat. Oh, he took the Hieromancer's Cage. Okay. It's actually okay with me. I could put the Luminous Bonds on his Harpy, but really the Harpy's not much of a threat. And I don't think he's going to have too many other scary threats, because with a Harpy you want to sacrifice a lot of smaller creatures to make the Harpy bigger, rather than sacrificing other nicer creatures. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to sacrifice a good creature to a Harpy. Let's see what else he's got in there. He's got a handful of cards, but he doesn't seem to be playing too much. Looks like he might be a little mana flooded. Okay. Okay, a Trash Master. Let's see if he attacks with that Harpy. Maybe he wants to save him as a blocker? Yeah, so he's attacking. And I pull the Hieromancer's cage. And I am going to go ahead and cage the Trash Master. Because he's got a passive ability. Gives all his other goblins +1/+1. So if I Luminous Bonds him, that ability still applies across his board. And now he can sacrifice it, which would nullify my cage, which I'm also okay with. Or he's going to murder one of my guys. Okay, alright. So the right play there would have been to sacrifice the Harpy, sacrifice the Trash Master to the Harpy. You can do this if the Harpy's tapped, and that makes the Harpy a 2/3, and he just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And he's going to... Okay, so now hopefully he sacrifices to the Harpy, right? Okay. Alright, so if you're playing with Active Treason and you have a Harpy out, you steal the opponent's creature, you attack with it first for the extra damage, then you sacrifice it to your Harpy. So this that was a pretty big misplay there. And at some point I'll stop drawing land. And I could bond his Harpy, and I probably should, just to remove it from the potential, because he could sacrifice like that skeleton to it over and over and over again, and it's going to get huge, but it won't do anything for him because it won't be able to attack or block. Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do that? That sounds like a plan. Now the right play here is to sacrifice the skeleton right away. There's no reason to wait. There's no reason to save it. Or he could do that. Okay. So he casted the reassembling skeleton from his graveyard, but it was up here. That's where it looked. So yeah, let's take care of the Harpy. Now he could still steal my Novice Knight. He could do that. And then sacrifice it to his Harpy. But he wouldn't be able to kill me with it. You know what I'm saying? Cool. So there's the Siege Gang Commander. There's the 3 goblins. And I'm glad that Harpy can't attack because he could make him huge at this point. Alright, let's do this. Let's just make him big and give him Vigilance. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So he has to sacrifice all of his 4 goblins to do 8 damage to my Novice Knight. I don't think he's put that together yet. Plus, he doesn't have the mana right now to do that. So he doesn't have Trample. No big deal. He just loses a skeleton, which he should have immediately put back. Whatever. He should have done that at my end step. It's fine. So he shocks my token. No big deal there. See what we got going on. He's got to sacrifice all 3 of these tokens and his Siege Gang Commander to have an effective damage against my Novice Knight. And here goes the Thorn Lieutenant. And remember, it takes 6 to pump him up to a 6/7, and I have 7 mana, so I have that available to me as well. And so I'm just going to go to town. Let's see what happens. And here goes his other skeleton, because that's the right move there. Now the other right move is to immediately cast that skeleton, okay, out of his graveyard. That's fine. That's just fine. It's not happening. It's all good. So he's going to get more goblin tokens, and now it's a little more of a threat to my Novice Knight, where he can please target my Thorn Lieutenant. So now you see the ability of the Thorn Lieutenant, where he makes another Elf Warrior token when he gets targeted. And he's sacrificing his goblins this whole time. So he kills it, but I get 2 more tokens. And if I ever run into that Shalai, Voice of Plenty, that's where Shalai is going to come in real strong this game, because she will give all these tokens +1/+1. I don't think they're going to make it. I don't. But we will see. Hey, there we go. I'm going to save him, because I think he's going to kill he would kill this with the Siege Gang Commander, and I would not get any value out of it. Looks like he's playing Chaos and Mayhem. And he can just block it. There he goes. Hey, he did it right. A Doomed Dissenter. That's okay. He's got quite a little army up there. If he could simply tap my Novice Knight, he's won the game. Okay, so we're going to do a combo here. We're going to do... He could kill my Satyr Enchanter before the Oakenform takes effect. He could actually... But so I'm gonna do a bit of a juke here. So the Satyr Enchanter's going to go down. And I'm going to Oakenform one of the tokens to give me 2 threats to attack with each turn. He's probably going to kill the token. No. Okay. Alright. I don't know what's happening. He's going to block with both of his skeletons. And then he's going to reassemble them. And that's how this game's going to go until I can give one of these 2 guys trample. That's what's going to happen. Okay. And again, he doesn't cast them from his graveyard on my turn. He's waiting to this turn. Now they're tapped. So now I get to come after him with everything I got. Alright. He's got 8 damage to kill my Novice Knight, but that would put him in a much worse place. He's going after this. Okay, the Satyr, that's the right move. And now he can't block, so he's going to lose... There's no way he's taking 10, so he's blocking with something. Okay, and the second one's going to be another Goblin. And now in response, you sacrifice the Goblin, do 2 damage to me. That's fine. That's... He seriously could have just done all this damage to me and won the game. And we're just top decking away. He's going to block with both skeletons. Potentially forget to cast them again out of the graveyard. Seemingly any removal spell he draws. Any... Hey, there we go. So he's doing something. Alright. Yep, that's the right way I want to do that. All that damage there. That works for me. So that was kind of a greedy block he just made. Really greedy block he just made. I'm okay with that. Because he's hoping that he draws something. Well, he just drew the... Okay, we got it back. That Daybreak Chaplain is going to be super beneficial just to gain some life back with the way this game's been going. It's pretty tight right now, and I don't want to get juked out of a win just because he's got this really nice setup of blockers. Virtually any flyer I draw wins the game. The lifelink's going to help me get to a point where I can absorb some of his damage if he starts sneaking through with a creature. I think he's playing... This looks like one of the other welcome decks called Chaos and Mayhem. If he's playing a modified version of that, then he's probably got a Rekindling Phoenix in there. And that'll just fly right over the top of me and do some damage. So I'd like to get this lifelinker going. He may put up a pretty nice block here for my Daybreak Chaplain. So if he blocks with the token, the Goblin Instigator, and or if he doesn't block at all, that's okay too. And that's why you keep attacking, because he keeps misplaying this. So now it takes up 2 of his mana, and he's coming back tapped. So the fact that he's messing that up kind of tells me that I can keep keep the pressure on this way. Otherwise, I just wouldn't be attacking. I'm going to hang on to this card and make him think I might have something. Just so he doesn't block with his Siege Gang commander, because he could do that. He could block with his Siege Gang and a token and then kill my Daybreak. But I want him to think I've got something other than a Plains. It's just a Plains, dude. Gosh, if I draw Shalai, I could drop Shalai and then use her ability on the same turn. Which is what I need to do right now, because he just played that Phoenix, and that's really going to hurt. If not, end the game for us. So now he's got both of his skeletons out. My guy's got Vigilance. And there's no point in blocking. He could gang block. I don't think he sees it, but he could. Kill my knight, and then the Phoenix comes back. So let's not attack. And let's hope for a good top deck. Like he's getting. This is a nice combo too. You can sacrifice your Phoenix to your Harpies after they attack, so you can attack with everything, sacrifice the Phoenix to a Harpy, and then it comes back with haste on the next turn. Oh, another Satyr Enchanter. You are too little, too late. Oh, this game stalled out. That's no good. It's not good for me if the game stalls out, because this deck is highly susceptible to both removal and flying. And he's got both, so he's going to have some flyers in there, and he's going to have removal. He draws, gosh, one murder, one more murder, one cast down, one Chupacabra. I'm cooked. Oh, that's... Huh. That's really weird. I don't know why he didn't attack. He's got the game. He could hit me for 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I mean, the game is his at this point. This is a total loss for me. That's a good play. That's a smart move. Now start. He's not using this Harpy to the fullest. Look at how small this creature's getting. He's got so many of them. And a Plains, of course. Alright, let's see what the win is going to be here. He's going to get that 6/6 demon out, but he might not attack. I've been doing pretty good in the card draw. Now he goes after it. He could have just ended the game turns ago. Okay, that's fine. You do you. He's afraid of the 6 damage somehow, but doesn't trample. It just he could block with his clerics, and it wouldn't matter. This is strong. So this token, you have to sacrifice a creature to it. You've got the reassembling skeletons for that. You just bounce them. Super easy. And the brawl with the shoulders. Okay. I don't think this deck runs, it doesn't. Might be kind of good to sneak in some, like Settle the Wreckage or something for when you get a lot of flyers against you and they come at you. You could just Settle the Wreckage and then they all get exiled. That'd be kind of cool. Oh, he left me at 1. Oh, that's okay. Forest. That's good for me. So we'll just pass the turn. We'll see if he can't win. If he doesn't finish us off, I'm gonna go ahead and end the game. He's looks like he's a pretty new player, so I don't think he knows. Good, yeah, good game. It was kind of a good game, wasn't it? All right, good old shock. A good old shock ends the game. Truthfully, he had that game turns and turns and turns ago. With the Siege Gang Commander, you can do 2 damage to player. And, oh, hey, look at that. I got played some white white spells for my quest. So you just, a lot of times you just use that Siege Gang Commander to do 6 damage right to your opponent. You could even sacrifice the Siege Gang Commander himself, get 8 damage out of it. That would have ended the game. And then he could have attacked and just gotten one of those skeletons through, and that would have been it. Ooh, we've got a Siegehorn, but no white mana source. And a lot of enchantments for some removal. So let's take a mulligan on that. And this is and we're on the play, so I really want an early play that I could make happen. Looks like mana's gonna be tight. I'm gonna mulligan down to 5. I don't like doing this. It's the same hand, but with my Siegehorn. There's only one of these in the deck. So I'm gonna keep it and throw that to the bottom and hope that next card's a land. Really needs to be a land in order for this to, boy. Well, I could have kept that opening hand and had 2 mana and waited on the 3rd turn play. Hopefully this is something. Oh boy. Okay, let's do game number 3. Let's just not do this today. I hate when that happens. It's one of the risks in running a 2-color deck sometimes, or a 2-color deck without any 1-drops. I mean, there's the 1-drop in this deck of the Novice Knights, but it's just not very good. You know, it would be super improved if you were to put in like Pelt Collectors. I think Pelt Collector would go well in here, or really any other decent 1-drop. Hadza Marshal, maybe a couple more Shalais, but Hadza Marshal, where he makes another token. He's a 1-casting 1/1. Alright, there we go. So I've got 2 mana only, but I've got my Greenwood Sentinel. So I'm keeping this hand. This will at least give me some early plays. I may be able to give him some Knightly Valor, and then get some get 2 tokens out there, plus all this removal I've got. You don't see Hieromancer's Cage out there too much anymore. Conclave Tribunal has pretty much replaced it. Oh, there goes my Sentinel. Wow. Thanks, Thought Erasure. And I love this Dimir deck. Oh, he took a cage. Oh, thank goodness. Which probably means he's got a cast down. He's holding a cast down. He's gonna kick him out. What do you think? Luminous Bonds on the Luminous. Well, maybe he's not gonna play. He knew. Okay, all right. So this is a huge blunder on his part. He could still see my hand from the Thought Erasure, so he was banking on this divest, removing whatever I drew. But I drew a plains, which he can see my whole hand. So be careful of that. If you can see their hand, it's not a great idea to play 2 removals back to back, especially if, like divest, it must be an artifact or a creature. He could see that I just had enchantments in my hand. He took a big risk there, which is not something I would have done. And this Child of the Night, oh, they changed the artwork on that in the Core 19. I like it a lot better. It's 2/1 with lifelink. Let's just bond that thing and start attacking. Which he knew I had this also. So he's baiting me. This guy's got Death Touch, which I think is kind of cool. Okay, let's just get some creatures out here. I am going to Knightly Valor my Novice Knight as soon as I get that extra mana. And we're going to take out his 1/1, hopefully. And once I can start attacking again, I mean, the same thing happened last game where you pump up your Novice Knight and you got a pretty decent attacker. However, like we saw, the host. Okay, so check this out. We're going to cage the Helm of the Host because we can do that. Definitely don't want him running around with this thing. And then we're going to attack it. So the soft removal and creatures. My favorite part about this deck is all of the white enchantments that end up doing removal. I would even might even put Seal Away in this deck with Satyr Dryad, Satyr Enchanter, whatever it's called, the Druid that gives you draw a card whenever you cast an enchantment. Leave that in the deck and just go with all of the white removal. Really, dude? There's no way he's taking 4, so he's going to chump block with my own Sentinel. And it didn't matter how he did that. If he stole my Novice Knight, I would have pumped up the Greenwood Sentinel. Phyrexian Scriptures is terrific. That's just fine. And we got the big beefy angel out there. Just attack with everybody. Then we're going to lose everybody, right? Yeah. I should have waited a turn for Shalai. That's my fault. That was a misplay. I hope that doesn't cost me the game. I don't have any graveyard synergy anyway. I'm fine with that. Although Phyrexian Scriptures, if you combine that with like the Fall of Thran, that would be pretty cool. Here's Ward. That's kind of cool. Give it hexproof. So now we can cast cards out of my exile, right? That I can't see? Yeah, so he's got one exile that he can just cast because it's the Thief of Sanity. Oh, I thought I had lethal and I left him at 1. That's the card he stole? Isn't that terrific? Okay. Here we go. Alright, I'll take it. Although this 4/4 flying vigilance and hexproof is going to win him the game right here. That's terrible. I like this combo though. Curator's Ward on the Thief of Sanity. And there's no point in attacking. Well, there is. So I'm going to attack for the life. Well, even then, it's not really worth it because I'll take 3 on the crackback. So I'm not going to attack. I'll save him as a blocker. This game is going to end in 3 turns when he just attacks me enough times with this Thief of Sanity. And now he's got lifelink. That's great. He's using all the cards I couldn't get to. Adventurous Impulse would go well in here with a nice little dig for some cards. My Siegehorn Ceratops would get bigger and bigger using all these great enchantments that he's got. But he's stealing them all, which is awesome. Awesome. But once again, these welcome decks are more like a concept deck. They're not going to win you many games. This one in particular, this one's probably has one of the lower win rates, I think, of any of the welcome decks. It's kind of fun if it goes off and you can start drawing some enchantments and playing through them. Although I did have that misplay, I should have had my Shalai out after the second Phyrexian Scriptures went off, but I blew it. And just in time to watch me lose the game, here comes the History of Benalia. And there's only one of those in here. It's kind of fun when you play it and you can get some knights out there, but they're really not going to do much. It is an enchantment, and it's just in there to potentially draw some cards. But as you can see, if you can get a flyer out there, really there should be more flyers in this deck too. If you mix it up with some flying creatures, you'll have a better chance of getting them through. But you know, it's kind of fun, but it probably won't win you too many games. Just play with it for a few games and see if you like this one, and then make some changes to it. That's kind of what I would do. But yeah, stay tuned for some more of these games. I'm going to review all the welcome decks here in the next few weeks and try and get through all those, and then do either modified versions of them or just scrap them all together and build new decks with the same 2 colors. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.